It's not uncommon for sons to follow in their father's footsteps when it comes to pursuing a career. And that statement also applies to the business of harness racing. Of course, Barton Dalious, whose father is Delaware trainer driver Bart Dalious, was familiar with the sport growing up. But the desire of an actual profession in harness racing wasn't even on the radar until just in recent years.
I've already kind of been in it like a little bit throughout my entire life, but just like here and there helping during the summers, going to watch my dad race or whatever it might have been. But I really got into it probably about 2 years ago. I started coming to the farm and helping out a lot more, and started doing a lot of training and jogging, and it just kind of started to click, so kind of just stuck with it.
Barton dedicated most of his time to the sport of wrestling all through school with much success. He was part of the Milford High School team for 3 state championships, and individually, he was a conference champ and a 2-time state runner-up. Continuing with college wasn't a route he wanted to take, and he came to a crossroads.
I was kind of just trying to figure out what I was going to do with my life. I was kind of just staying home for a while, and my dad was like, hey, why don't you come help me out at the barn for a week or so? So I was like, all right. And, I started riding to the barn with him for a while, doing little stuff like I was just helping him get horses ready and stuff, and, if a stall was there to clean, then I'd clean it, And about a week went by, I was just doing like little stuff like that, like helping out. He asked me if I wanted to jog a horse, and I was like, yeah. I really like this one horse, Warrior Monarch. Probably my favorite horse of all time. And so I started, helping out, getting him ready and stuff, and he let me out to go jog. And the first time, I didn't go by myself, I actually had to ride with him. So eventually, probably like 2 or 3 days about jogging with him, he let me jogging by myself, and I was just like, man, I really like doing this, and just something felt right about being out on the track with a horse. So that was kind of what like kick-started the whole idea. It's like, man, maybe one day I could like race these horses, and actually make this a career. That's how it started out, and here I am. Finally started driving in actual races, and I popped off 2 wins.
The horse he teamed up with for those first couple of career wins is Disturbed Hanover. The most recent victory with the 4-year-old mare was a lifetime best of 152-3.
They come toward the top of the stretch now. Disturbed Hanover on the outside. Up after McCoolin. Out wide, Twinbee Betty 124-2. They come off the turn, and Disturbed Hanover has a short lead. McCoolin still fighting Shadow of Twilight there. They come through the stretch. Disturbed Hanover moves away. Disturbed Hanover's in front in 152-3.
Disturbed's a great horse. She's really just a good horse to be around all the time, on and off the track. She likes a lot of attention. She's got a little bit of an attitude to her, but I think I like a horse with a little bit of attitude. You don't want a horse that just kind of doesn't really have a lot of a personality. So, she likes a lot of love and attention. She can be playful, and she knows when it's time to get serious. She's a lazy trainer, but when she's on the track, she knows it's game time. And for like a bond between me and her, I'd say we have a pretty good connection. There's a lot of horses that I like, and I can't say I dislike a horse, but I really like her as a horse, and I think she knows that. I think she knows that I spoil her a little bit, so she'll kind of play games with me, and when we're on the track and it's time to go and we're behind that gate, I think she knows what to do, and she knows that I'm going to give her the best shot that she can get.
Well, at first I didn't know if he was making the right decision, but as time went on, it seemed like he had a little knack for him. When he first trained his first horse, I was like, wow, how did he get speed out of this one? And it just kind of went from there, it just felt good out there.
So you're happy with it?
I am now. I was a little skeptical in the beginning, but it seems like he can do the job.
Barton is well aware of the opportunities he has and the strong network of people supporting his career choice. And the young Dalious doesn't take it for granted.
I've got a lot of people that have really backed me into doing what I'm doing now, going into my career is trying to, be a little bit of a driver and, working with the horses. I'd say my main supporters would be my dad, Frank Delaware. He owns all my dad's horses, and he's been a great support in letting me drive and getting me out here. Terry McClements, he's taught me a lot. My mom, my sister, friends, family. Everybody's been really supportive of me getting into the business and trying to become a driver. So I think everybody has gave me a lot of backing, and I'm really thankful for all of it.
He works hard. I'd like to get him to the barn a little earlier, but he's a hard worker, and he's here every day, and he puts in the reps. I think he'll do well in the business if he keeps his head on his shoulders right. I think he's got some kind of natural talent. He's just got to keep his head on right and take things one at a time, And I think he's going to be okay. So we'll see. Time will tell.
My favorite thing about training and driving, I really like bonding with the horses. Horses, I think all of them just have great personalities. They can be a little bit mean or, have a little bit of an attitude sometimes, but for the most part, they all like love and attention, which is kind of a great thing about the animal. So the horses are really a big part of it that make me love the business. But I'm really competitive, so I like winning. I hate losing. Sometimes I take losses a little bit hard, but I don't let them. I try not to let them hold over my head. I'll reassess myself later on them, but if I had one drive or something and I didn't do as well as I wanted to, I wouldn't let it hang over me going into the next race. Maybe later that night, I'd reassess myself and figure out where I went wrong and whatever it might be. But yeah, definitely the love of the horses, competitive, it's just fun racing.